this this is gonna be weird because I'm gonna be talking against my own people and against myself because I also have kind of a review channel. Um, Once in a while I'll be talking about other stuff, but most of the time is reviews of stuff. Even like T1, the living as Asmongold for one day is kind of a review of a hotel. Um, but yeah, uh, the idea with this video is that it's not like to not trust review channels, but to be careful with them, which includes mine. Not that much right now because it's still a small channel. If I, for whatever reason, manage to make this big, yeah, the problem will be better perceived at that moment. But right now, not so much. What prompted me to do this was a series of videos that I saw on review channels, and I just didn't like it that much of what I heard. So why not to just do a little bit of a rant? So the first case, the first scenario was on a movie review channel. Movie reviews are kind of subjective. You can pinpoint some like objective stuff, like, oh, in this shot they could have used this camera or this other technique or whatever, but most of the time it will be very subjective. It will be your own experiences dictating what you will feel about, how you will feel about that movie. And for the most of the time, we will decide if we like something or not, and then we're gonna try to find arguments to prove our point. And I realized that watching this movie review channel, because there is the news exposition technique. A movie starts and they will show a bunch of news reports talking about what is happening in the world, what is currently happening, and where the story is set, and all of that. This happens on Mad Max, on the second movie, I believe. It starts with a news report talking about climate changes and the wars and all of that, and setting us for what we are going to see. And it also happens on a bunch of other movies. It happens on Cloverfield Paradox. I remember in there is a news report also talking about climate change and energy crisis, which is kind of it's doing an exposition, right? A very quick exposition because we just see a bunch of reporters, all of them giving one sentence, right? Like there is one reporter, he will say, "Oh, the energy crisis gets worse," and then there will cut to another reporter saying something like, "The energy crisis led to war between X and Y countries." And then there will be another reporter saying something like, "Oh, now some countries decided to unite to try to make this one thing that will generate clean and cheap energy for everyone." So that's the news exposition. You have a bunch of reporters and newscasts just giving us the details of what is happening in the world. And I was watching this channel, and I saw a review for a movie that had this report. Let's say it was Mad Max. And what they said was that the news exposition was a great technique because it's really quick, it does not take much screen time, and it will give us a bunch of informations about what is currently happening in the world. Which is true. The news exposition does that. It's quick and it gives us a bunch of information. And then they proceeded to make the review of the movie, which they really enjoyed. And then I was watching another review of the same channel for another movie that also had the news exposition problem. And for this movie, they only say that they don't like the news exposition because it was too overused. There is too much movies doing that same one thing, and they don't like that. And then they continue to do the movie review where they presented all their arguments for them to not like this one particular movie. And that's when I decided to stop watching that channel because they couldn't follow their own rules. It's because, as I said, we will first decide if we like something or not, and then we will try to find arguments to prove our point, like to prove why this movie is good and why this other movie is bad. And in this situation, they just found the same element in the two movies, the same exact thing, same thing, but for the movie that they previously decided that they enjoyed, this one aspect, the news exposition, was positive, but for this other movie that also had the same element and that was done in the same way, for this second movie, it was a negative aspect of it, which I found really funny. There is a chance that I did this in one of my videos because, like, on Star Wars franchise, it was 15 movies that I had to watch one after the other. So don't be afraid to call me out on that, because it's weird to like have the exact same element but have different opinions on that, even though both of them to me are correct. But like you have to present the good aspects of it and the bad aspects of it. You did a review for two movies that have the news exposition, so now you have to say this element is great, is quick, and it gives us a bunch of information, but on the other hand, it was overused. So we need to wait that out and like see the other aspects of the movie until we decide if it's a good movie or not. That's how I perceive things. And like on this channel, I tried my maximum to not fall for that, to not like decide if I like a movie before I find the arguments. But there is, as I said, there is a chance of me failing that. So that was the first instance of that happening. The second time I saw that was on a tech review channel. This guy was making a review of a laptop that had a foldable screen, which is a terrible decision by itself. The screens were just not made to be folded. But this laptop had a foldable screen that you could extend if whatever you were doing there required it. And this guy was talking about how great that feature was. Sorry for the clap. He was saying how great that feature was on the laptop, even though I don't see much use of it because it would fold and make the screen become more vertical. So like if you're writing something, sure, I guess it could help. Or if you're reading something, but outside of that, like you can't use that for YouTube. You can't use that for movies. You can't use that for games. Even like spreadsheets. Because if you do a spreadsheet, that works on a vertical screen. If you, for whatever reason, have to open that spreadsheet on another computer that does not have that screen, you have a lot of trouble, because it will cut half of what you made. So he was doing this review, and he said it was a great thing to have on a laptop. But the thing is, he got access to that laptop before everyone else. The company got in touch with him and said, hey, we have this new product. We would like you to give a look at it, make a video about it, and just advertise for us. And that's what he was doing. And then you would go to the comment section. You would open the comment section, and there would be some comments talking about that laptop, and he would just try his best to not criticize the company. Like, there was one comment that I saw, which was a person talking about the stats of the laptop. That person was saying something like, first of all, I don't really understand much about computers, so I can't really remember the specs of that laptop. But the person was criticizing them. They were saying something like, "Oh, this laptop has this, this, and this, which are made by that one company, which got burnt because they did that other product that no one really liked." And then the guy replied to that, just saying, "Have you had access to the laptop to know all of that, or are you just just talking this stuff because you have some kind of prejudice against the company that made the laptop?" So the guy was really trying to not criticize the company, because if he could criticize the laptop manufacturer, he would lose opportunities to get products early on before everyone else, and he would lose the opportunity to make videos of those products before other creators, and he would lose views for that, which would lead to him losing money. So he cannot really speak about the laptop. He cannot speak about the bad aspects of it. He cannot talk about how a foldable screen is a terrible idea and how it was not greatly implemented in any other product so far. He cannot say about the components that goes into that laptop, because he cannot say, oh, this product sucks because it has this CPU on it or whatever. Because if he does that, as I said, he will lose opportunities, and he will close a door with that one company, which is I don't know, I think it's kind of dumb, because we will also have Louis Rosman. Louis will just tell every company to fuck themselves, right? That's his thing. Louis will just open a news on his PC about how companies are fucking with their clients, and he'll just tell the company to fuck themselves. That's how Louis does his channel, and he has a lot of subscribers. So he can make money without without having to talk good stuff about companies even when they do bad products. The same happens with Silent Experts, the guy of the greatest technician that's ever lived. I know 70% of his channel is just him advertising for you to buy products on second-hand market, because they work perfectly if you like do your research. And it's not like early 2000s where you would have like big chances of getting scammed by buying on secondhand markets. Now you have like Amazon or whatever the company you choose to buy stuff from, and you can just return the product if you eventually fall for a scam. So you don't need to only talk positive things about companies to like get big on YouTube or like to get job opportunities. Um, like on Silent Experts, he just he posted a video like a couple months ago about the hydrophobic technology to prevent the most pricey components on laptops from getting wet and from getting water damage. So you don't need to like buy a new laptop. So even though he just criticizes a lot of companies, he just got this one opportunity to talk about the owner of this other company that is doing this hydrophobic product, right, to prevent water damage. So yeah, you don't need to like that's the point is you don't need to like talk good stuff about that, about companies. And then there is the third video I saw, which was a gaming review. For this one, the guy received an early access copy of this one game, so he could play the game before everyone else, and then he could make a video reviewing the game before everyone else. So he would get more views because like day one, the game releases, he could post his video, right? Because he played the game on early access, he played the game before everyone else. So he could have already made his video, and on the day one when the game finally gets released, he can just post his video. And while the other content creators will still be playing the game for the first time, and will still be recording the game and doing the script and editing the video. So in that time, this guy that got a early access copy of the game, he would be getting a lot of views because he would be the only one, or like one of the few people that already had a video done on that game, right? But the game had a lot of issues, which he not covered in his early access review. So then he released kind of an apology video talking about the copy that he received was different from the copy that everyone else got. That was the argument. Like, the company sent me this early access version of the game that was like this, but then when the game finally got released, it got released with a lot of problems that didn't existed on the early access. So I couldn't have saw that coming. And that was like his excuse to make a video talking good stuff about that one game. That's not the problem. Sure, this can happen. The company can give you a beta version of a game or a product or whatever, and that can work perfectly fine, but then when it finally gets released, there is a lot of bugs on it. So that's not the problem. The problem is the excuse he gave to kind of like argument in favor of why to argument that he does not have, he's not tied to that company, which was the company didn't pay me to do a positive video about their game, which again is kind of weird. It's like the same thing that the previous case. You got paid for doing the review. You just didn't got paid with money. The company gave you an early access version of the game, so you could play before everyone else. So you could do a video before everyone else. So you could get views before other people had their videos done. And then you would get a bigger viewership, and you would get more money from YouTube ads or partnerships you may have or whatever, because you would be the only one that had a video done when the game gets finally released. So people would go to you, and if you have like merch or whatever, if you sell t-shirts, if you have partnerships with whatever other company, you could advertise that in your video. And people would see that because, as I said, you would be the only one with a video done. So I don't feel like that's an argument. You got paid to do that, just not with money. And we can also say that you would already buy the game. Another argument is to say that you would already buy the game. And the company gave you that. They gave you the game, so now you don't have to buy it. So you got paid at least the price of the game that you will not spend now, right? The counter argument could be that the company gave you the early access version, but they didn't told you to do a positive video. But then we get to the same as the previous case. You feel obligated to do a positive video on the game. Because if you don't, you can lose opportunities with that company. Right? Like you did 15 videos prior to that one where you just talk about how great the company is. So they saw that, they analyzed it, got to the conclusion that if they gave you the early access version, you would still talk positive stuff about it, which won't happen on another channel. Let's say there is a channel that only talks bad things about that company. They will never give them an early access version of the game because there is a high chance that the person will talk negative stuff. So even though they didn't say that you had to do, that you had to say positive stuff about the game, they already knew that was what you was going to do because you have a history of talking good stuff about the company and their other games, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk. Just a little rant about review channels, and like just to like say that be careful with them, because most of the time they will be receiving something to talk good stuff about whatever the product is. Maybe they will receive money for that, maybe they will receive compensations in other forms. Like they will get a product before everyone else, they will get early access versions of a game, they will get like tickets to a movie or whatever. And also there is the problem, as I said, that we will first decide if we enjoy something, and then we will try to try to find the arguments to prove our point. So yeah, as I said, there is a chance that I did this in one of my videos, but don't be afraid to call me out on that. Just be civil, right? And like say, oh, in this video you say this, and in the other one you say that, because this happens. I don't know. That's about it, I think. Yeah,